Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Why would anyone want to kill their child?
What is my favorite plague?
And what does it take for an atheist to believe?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and this is the story where the two of us, the show, well, it's got story in the name.
Here's a story.
Where we review horror movies week to week, and we've been doing it since you were 13, and as of yesterday, he turned 20. It's been a while. But let's quickly answer these questions. You can go back and match them up in order. If she's Satan, frogs, because we're French and frog legs, and a hell of a lot. Anyway, this week we're doing what we tend to do, where we do 4 movies that are in a similar topic.
Yep.
And this is our 3rd out of our 4 religion-based horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
We do have one more coming next week, but this one is definitely very biblical as far as
Very biblical.
the content. And I will say the person who made this or wrote it either knew the stuff or did a lot of research.
Yeah, more so than the last 2 movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, before we go too far, let's give a little basic thing. There's a woman who was religious, loses her faith, and then spends the rest of her life trying to disprove
Find scientific reasons.
any miracles
Right.
or anything biblical.
Yeah.
Old Testament, New Testament, current events. She just tries to prove that there is a scientific reason for everything. And then she gets into something where she may or may not be able to do so.
Right.
Let's roll that trailer so you can see what we're talking about.
Father?
I think God has sent me a message.
What happened?
Catherine, you're gonna think I'm crazy. He wants me to warn you. I believe you're in danger.
Catherine, this is Doug Blackwell.
Professor, I'm from a place called Haven. I'm hoping you can help us without problem. Folks are worried that this is a plague.
As in Old Testament plague? I've investigated 48 miraculous occurrences with 48 scientific explanations.
I understand you're not much of a Bible reader. Some folks just don't want to go to heaven.
There's things going on now. You just better prepare yourself. Is it blood?
The whole damn river.
The folks in town think there might be 9 more plagues on the way.
You're in great danger. Everyone is.
Are you gonna kill my baby?
No.
Why not?
Catherine, what are you doing?
Ending this.
All right.
I don't know that I like that trailer now that I've seen the movie.
Yeah, but see, it intrigued you for the movie, didn't ruin it ahead of time, and then afterwards you're like, oh, that's kind of a thing. And it's like, right. But there's a couple things, but it doesn't really ruin them the way they cut it together.
All right.
Trust me, I'm the first one to jump on that too. Right there with you. Now, anything else you want to say about the basic story before we... No? All right. Then, before we get into the behind-the-scenes information, or as you like to call it...
The meat and beef.
...of the movie, we got to pay the bills. You might be wondering, since he started at 13 and he's now 20, how do we afford to keep going? It's all these fat stacks of cash that they back up on pallets to have us advertise for these huge companies that actually exist. I had to burp.
Jeez,
And
on air?
not only do they exist, they sell real products that you can purchase or things to do, etc., etc., etc. This week, Gory Story Time is brought to you by Hello Plague, the plague delivery service that is guaranteed to make your cult reinvigorate their faith in you as their new god. Our weekly boxes are locally sourced whenever possible. We send our plague kits with easy-to-understand directions. Why go old school when you can go Old Testament? Convince your friends and neighbors to bow down to you tomorrow by ordering Hello Plague today. Not responsible for the wrath of actual God smiting you.
All right. Yeah. And by the new South Coalition.
The New South.
The New South Coalition. We in the South realized we were the butt of many jokes in America. So we formed the New South Coalition to fight the bigotry directed at us for so long. Now you may not believe you've shown that type of attitude towards us, but seriously, who knows more about bigotry, discrimination, and hatred than us in Below the Mason-Dixon line? We want you to know we almost never sleep with immediate family, and we have reduced our overt racism by 45%. So come to the South today.
All right. Their overt racism cut by 45%. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the behind-the-scenes stuff. The filming for this movie in Louisiana was interrupted by Hurricane Katrina. Well, that's quite rude. It's like, we're filming here.
Yeah. The film portrays the city of Concepcion, all right, Chile, as a warm, tropical, third-world small town. This caused a furor in Concepcion, with people walking out of theaters and others calling for the authorities to ban the movies.
Movies? I think someone wrote an
Yeah,
S that
whoops.
didn't belong. Anna Sophia Robb doesn't speak a single line of dialogue in the film until the 1 hour and 25-minute mark.
Philip Glass was the film's original composer. His score had been written and recorded before he was replaced by John Frizzell.
I mean, I wouldn't mind getting paid for a score and then it doesn't get used as long as I got my paycheck.
Right.
Initially, Warner Brothers set the U.S. release date to August 11th, 2006. It was pushed back to November 8th, and then later of March 30th, 2007, and then pushed again another week to April 5th, 2007.
Jeez. When Isabel walks
Catherine.
Oh, Catherine. I had to burp. Okay, my turn.
I was like, are you really?
When Isabel walks Catherine and Ben to the Haven Church, she calls the baby in the stroller Pud, after sound mixer Pud Cusack.
I wonder if he's related to
John?
other Cusacks. Yeah, like John. But Pud,
Pud.
his parents need to be beaten.
Well, his
If they're still
sister's
alive.
name was Ol.
What?
Ol. Pud and Ol.
No, I was
Puddle.
thinking pull, not ul. Pull, Pud.
I don't know.
You know, the thing you do in the bathroom that takes you extra time when
Oh
you're
my goodness.
showering. Anyway,
You
the first
think I
time they
shower.
arrive at the Church of Haven, there's already a hint that the whole, wow, spoiler, that the
Alright.
whole village is are cultists. On the sign, instead of using O in the alphabet, they use the hook symbol. Okay?
Spoiler alert. The video camera carried by Ben while boating on the Bloody River is a JVC HDGR1, one of the earliest pro summer grade high def video cameras.
While Catherine and Ben are at Doug's house the first night for dinner, Catherine drinks Purple Haze beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this says spoilers, but
They had one
whoops.
up there. Yeah.
Spoilers. The 10 plagues from the Bible are river and water sources turn to blood, amphibians, common believed to be frogs, gnats or lice, wild beasts, locusts, darkness, and death of the firstborn. In the movie, it replaces the gnats with lice and puts it as the 6th plague after boils. It also mixes hail, locusts, and darkness, putting locusts first, then darkness and hail of fire.
All right.
And then Rotten Tomato, because we forgot till the end last week.
Yeah. The people have it at 49%, which means the people are smarter than the critics.
Who put it at 8%.
And I'll tell you what happened. The reason it's as low as it is, in my opinion, for the people, is because there's a lot of non-Christians who watch and rate the movies. And a lot of Christians don't watch a lot of horror movies. So the crossover between those two weren't going to be very helpful. And there's way more anti-God reviewers
than there are pro-God reviewers.
Absolutely. So I believe that's where it gets.
That's why 92% of the critics said no.
And there were some scenes that would be a little much for some people that are trying to be really good when it comes to the Bible.
Yeah. But it was also rated R.
Yeah.
So.
Which also but so was Passion of the Christ. So.
And so was the Bible.
I mean, there was adultery, there was violence,
no,
there was war.
The Bible was X. Okay.
I mean, they didn't get it. No, not X, because they didn't get into the descriptions of the sex, but they did talk about sex. Well, there's a difference. You could talk about sex without showing it. I think God, understood that people knew what sex was. He didn't have to describe it.
All right.
Anyway, on to the next part. I'm gonna say, let's go with least favorite first, because it's a little harder for me, actually.
And since we spoiled it, I know what my favorite is.
Okay.
But
anyway, I don't really want to do that.
All right.
What is your least favorite, though?
I guess my least favorite is that she lost her faith to begin with. Because it's like, I get she lost her daughter, but that wasn't God's fault. So why blame him for something that wasn't his fault?
But if you're raised to believe that everything happens because God has a plan,
yes,
right? And people take your child and murder it, and you walk in as it's being murdered, you don't think you're going to have a beef with the guy who it was part of his plan? Watching someone murder your child in front of you is not going to make you a little leery about the guy that planned that shit?
No. Because,
Job didn't when his family was lost. But I'm saying, this isn't a Bible study class. So my
Right.
point is, you can see how people would have a real hard time with the whole God thing if they're like, well, I believe in him and he took my child.
Except he didn't take the child. So, like,
But-
whatever.
But his plan involved the child being taken.
Well, I hate it in real life, too, when people blame God for something that's not his fault.
But I'm saying I'm not asking you to agree with her point of view. I'm saying you can understand why she had it.
Okay.
Well, if you can't understand that other people have other points of view, then you might as well.
No, I understand it.
Okay.
But, like,
I didn't say agree.
certainly not. Yeah,
Um,
whatever.
Anywho, my least favorite part is probably just the fact that I can't go anywhere without hearing about Idris Elba this, Idris Elba that, and this was near the beginning of how that started. What? No, that was sarcasm.
Okay, good.
That was sarcasm.
Well, I know sometimes you nitpick like that,
No,
so
no,
I
no,
didn't
no, 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 no.
understand. It's like, there's enough to pick apart
I actually
about this,
like Idris Elba,
but,
so like that was a joke.
okay.
I know any of the two people that ever watched this show, you understood I was joking. He hasn't gotten any smarter as he ages. Anyway,
Blah,
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, my real least favorite part is probably gonna be just the fact that it started with the river turning to blood, right?
Yep.
And it turned out to be blood, spoiler, which isn't a big spoiler.
Because it's the plagues and it was blood.
Right.
What? Really?
But when they showed people in it, I mean, it looked like dark Kool-Aid. Like, it was
Yeah.
so watery. If it were turned to blood and
It'd be
tested
thicker.
as blood,
It'd be
it should have been thicker.
And they wouldn't have been able to have the underwater shots that they had because you
True.
wouldn't have been able
I
to see through
understand
it.
that they weren't really going to build a special river of blood, but I'm just saying they had some CGI that worked pretty well in it, if you
Yeah.
remember. They could have enhanced it to make it look more like actual blood if it was supposed to actually be blood.
Oh yeah.
You really thought, like, since when have you ever heard me have a bad thing to say about Idris Elba other than I don't want to watch the Stephen King movie he was in?
And Robson Shaw or whatever, Bobbin.
Yeah, but that's
I don't
just
know.
because I don't like that series. That had nothing to do with him in particular.
Yeah.
But you've never heard me say anything bad specifically about him. I think he's a decent actor. I have no problem with him.
All right. Yeah, I was very confused
Yeah,
because the whole time you were complaining about the other person. It's like, what? Okay.
It's called a joke. I do
my
that sometimes.
favorite part of this movie, I guess, since I'm not going with the blatant twist.
Well, you can say the ending and just not get into a lot of the details.
Right, so never mind. So I'm going with, out of the three that we've done so far, this is the most accurate,
As far as
biblically,
trying to get
like,
the Bible right.
trying to actually get it right.
Yeah.
They don't go into a bunch of nonsense.
They
really.
did get some, like the last
They
thing
got
you
a couple of
read,
things wrong.
There was a couple
but
things
that-
out of order. They adjusted a couple things so it fit in the United States because there's certain things that wouldn't have made as much sense.
Right.
But yeah.
But otherwise, they did really well
Yeah.
sticking to the
and they
source
certainly
material.
weren't doing it in a way to try to offend people who believe.
No, certainly not.
They were like,
actually,
look, yeah, exactly. See, that you can't get into all of it because it might give away the ending. My favorite thing.
well, they very
also
easily
bothers
could have. Well, they very easily could have done something along the lines of Noah and said, "Oh, he was an insane person, and there were
Yeah,
rock monsters." They
do
didn't.
that.
They didn't make.
I mean, they had a
them
character
insane people
who
or
is
whatever.
realistic that was calling out everything as, oh, that's not real. Here's the science behind it. You know, because there are people that try to do that.
Right, and I just think, all right, but biologically, just because that's what it is, doesn't mean that God didn't know that and choose to do it.
It's weird how God could use the laws of nature to his advantage.
Right.
But anyway, the point is, my favorite part is they set up a really great opportunity for a sequel.
Yes.
The thing that bums me out is, for some reason, it's never happened. I haven't heard about any sequel. I haven't heard about anything to do with
maybe because they were rated 8 and 49, and
yeah, I don't know if it didn't make enough money.
When your movie is trashed,
but I thought it was great, and I thought that it absolutely
deserved a sequel.
Yeah, I think that, or something, something to show what happens, because the way it was left off. Now, in a way, it could be good to leave it open-ended, kind of like...
Because if they...
Rosemary's Baby, it's open-ended.
Well, and you never want to, like... If you have an open ending like that, and then you screw it up with a sequel, and that sequel ruins it, it's like, all right, but now that's in the lore, and that sucks.
So, while I'm bummed that there's no sequel, it's still my favorite part.
Yeah, I
without
get it.
saying exactly what happens. The very
Which
last
is like a
thing that
third
we find
twist in
out
the movie.
before the credits.
Third or fourth twist, because there were some twists and turns.
But the
in
very
this.
last thing we find out before they roll credits, I was like, that's awesome.
It is.
Awfully awesome.
Yes. So, like, we're on to the part where you say, anything else you want to say about this movie? And, yeah, kinda. If you can find a way to watch this movie, do it. I would say it's on YouTube, but only for those of you who can speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's true. Or anyone that's near there's a chain called Bull Moose. I found a couple of copies there very cheap. I think it was less than $3. I paid $2.97, which it cost more than that to rent the thing, and I bought it.
Right.
Used, but the copy was perfectly fine.
Yeah, and we watched it and just reviewed it, so...
Yeah, so... but if you speak Spanish, it's on YouTube.
And if you don't, find a way to watch this movie.
But I do not
find a way to watch this
believe
movie.
that it is a good idea to ever watch a movie ripped onto YouTube. The people who own the copyrights deserve to get the money. I just want to officially state that before we continue. On a scale of 1 to 10...
I'm going to go 9.
Yeah? I'm going to meet you right at 9.
Because the whole time, it kept me enthralled.
The acting?
Whenever she would go into her science rants, it's like, all right, but to the naked eye, to a human, that is what it would look like. Because we can't see God doing magical shit.
I mean, again, I agree. I said 9. The acting was good.
The story was great.
It was. I really like this movie, and I don't like that it got such a low review over here on the old Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's messed up.
But that's about it. So,
up on that side of the screen. Yep. You can watch the show on Fact TV channel 1076, 8:30, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and when I say us, I mean you can like Gory Storytime, you can like Fact TV, you can, check out episodes that way, see it streaming live. Sometimes people are doing that.
Yeah, if you're watching it live, hey.
If not, if you're watching this some other way, hey also.
Hey also, yeah, look at that. We have fans.
Yeah, do we?
No.
Anyway, your mom don't even watch, and she's with me romantically and your mother.
There's those things.
If she won't watch,
you can go to factdate.com and watch back episodes of this, other shows that he's done, other shows that we've done, other things, specials, blah, blah, blah. They have all their other shows, and they have board meetings. Everybody loves those. So you can go up and watch those up on their website.
You can follow us on the Twitter. I am at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
I'm at Jason T. Jake 17, capital J, capital G, capital J, capital 17.
He also doesn't really use that much, but you can also follow him at Jiggly Firm Brain.
Yes. Realistically, I should just get it switched to that one because I don't even remember the login to my last one.
Is literally just random nonsense that comes out of my mouth that he finds funny.
Yeah. So
a lot of times completely out of context, but if you think that would be funny, please follow it.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.